So we're back with the Personal Insight Questions video series that we're filming here at UC Davis with undergraduate admissions experts, where we're giving you tips on each of the 8 prompts. So today we have...
My name is Robert Penman. I serve as the Executive Director of Undergraduate Admissions at UC Davis.
Awesome. Thank you, Robert, for joining us. So today we're covering prompt number 6. So prompt number 6 is think about an academic subject that inspires you. Describe how you have furthered this interest inside and or outside of the classroom. So Robert, today I want to talk to you about prompt number 6 and see if there's any stories that have stood out to you when you've been reading applications from students that decide to answer prompt number 6.
So, okay, prompt number 6, it's about academics, right? And we're an academic institution. We are a university. And so when we're thinking about students applying to certain majors or to certain programs, this can actually be a really important question. I think I've read thousands of these, right, over the years. And so I think the ones that stand out the most are, I think, really get to the point of not just in the classroom, but outside the classroom, right? How have you taken what you've learned in the classroom and applied it outside? For example, you might have an interest in politics, political science. Maybe that's what you want to study. You have taken your AP US history class, for example, and studied political revolutions in the United States. You have gotten involved in your community in some way, maybe even in your school, right? Like making change, right? Like have gotten involved in making change in your school or community, and really tell that story from interest sparked by what happened in the classroom to action outside the classroom, right? And that can be in any subject. I picked politics. It doesn't have to be politics, right? But pick another subject, right? Biological sciences, biology, right? You're sparked by an interest in some way, shape, or form, whether that be in the classroom, whether it be a personal medical history or family medical history, some other interest, and you've turned that into research in the lab. You've reached out to faculty members on a local college campus. You're trying to get yourself into a lab or into research, or you're volunteering at a local animal shelter, or maybe you're volunteering at a hospital or medical clinic or something like that, right? Like, how are you taking what you've learned inside the classroom and applying it outside the classroom? Yeah.
Okay.
I'll start with that.
All right.
Yeah.
So any other general tips that you can think of for students like that choose to answer prompt number 3?
I mean, I think maybe this is a tip, and maybe it's like the next question that you're going to ask me, which is red flags. I wouldn't say there's red flags, but what I would say is, like, you don't have to talk about a class in your high school, right? Academic interest is beyond just the kind of 6 or 7 core subjects that you find in your high school curriculum. You might be inspired by that, and that's totally fine. And it may be from a particular teacher, but like that's not what you're necessarily going to do when you come to university. So think bigger picture, right? Why is this subject important to you? Because in some cases, particularly like in the engineering fields, we might be looking to this question to see if there's a good overlay of interest in the field and interest in and experience in that field, right? Or experience in the subject matter, at least, in some way, shape, or form. So going beyond, of course, always is like my biggest piece of advice, going beyond like what's taught in the classroom.
Okay. So I have one last question. So what do you have to say for any students applying to either UC Davis or any UCs right now? Any piece of advice?
Any piece of advice?
What do you have to say to keep students going on this application process?
So I don't do a lot of like presentations anymore, right? With prospective students, outside of my very small territory work that I still keep. But when I do, I get a chance to talk to students, usually about the application process, personal insight questions, and really telling your story. And I think that this topic that we've been on is really important for, I think, students to step back, think about what the personal insight questions are meant to be. They're meant to add depth, clarity, or context to your application. I don't know you as a student, right? I don't know your name. It's on your application, but we don't see it. We hide it from readers. which means I know nothing about you, including your name, other than what you tell me, and what you've put into your application. And so when you step back and look at what's on paper about your academic history for the past 4 years, your extracurriculars, your awards, your honors, your work experience, look at that there and like, what are the gaps that maybe are not clear? What are the things that you want to elaborate on? What is the story that you want to tell me as the other person, the human being on the other side of that screen, who's eventually going to read your application? Think about that story that you want to tell and then go do that, right? Don't pick PIQ responses just because, or PIQ questions because you think there's some sort of magic combination of, 1, 3, 5, and 8. Like, that's not the way it works, right? Pick questions that allow you to expand on your experience, to add color to your application, to add depth, right? Add clarity and context to your application. So that's my biggest piece of advice. I always say it this way, don't fit in the box that you think I want you to fit in. Make your own box, right? Like, really make your own box, forge your own path. There is no magic combination. It's really about you as a student, as an academic, as a person, as a human being who's going to come to Davis or any other UC campus and really contribute to the intellectual vitality, the cultural vitality, the social vitality of our campus, right? We're such wonderful places to study and to learn, and we're just looking for students who are going to contribute to that.
That's amazing advice. Thank you so much, Robert.
Yep.
Thank you all for tuning in to this episode of the Personal Insight Questions video series. Make sure to check out all our other episodes where we're covering each of the 8 prompts for the Personal Insight Questions. Good luck on your applications and hope to see you at one of the UCs soon.
Go Ags.